Good evening. We'll get started by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. So please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we have two items that have been postponed this evening and will not be heard. Item 2P, which is 1781 South Gulf Ridge, has been postponed. And item 10, 900 Timberlake has been postponed. We won't be taking those up this evening. So let's please take attendance.
So noted.
Okay, and then I'll need a motion regarding the approval or amendment of the minutes of the February 11th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Support.
Okay. So I don't know if I can, okay, I guess I can. As a brief introduction, the Zoning Board of Appeals is a 7-member quasi-judicial body appointed by the Bloomfield Township Board of Trustees per the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act. Matters pending before the Zoning Board of Appeals are decided on a case-by-case basis. Any appeal of a decision made by the Zoning Board of Appeals is subject to circuit court review. Each case will be called separately in the order shown on tonight's agenda. There will be an opportunity for public comment at one point during each case. All persons wishing to comment will be asked to provide their name and address at the podium, address your comments to the board, and not the applicant or other members of the public. Given the number of appeals tonight, please make your comments brief. Okay, so then, and just so you know, you need the vote of 4 members of the board to pass any item. So we'll take the first item, which is item 1P. 3115 Franklin Road. Is the applicant ready?
I am. Sorry about that. I went to the wrong building. Okay.
Well, you made it here, so welcome.
Pardon me? Yeah.
Welcome.
My name is Ivan Katz. I'm with Great Lakes Landscape Design. I'm here representing the client at 3115 Franklin, the Perrys. We are seeking approval for the temporary encroachment in the 25-foot natural feature setback to allow for an extension previously approved for a retaining wall that is adjacent to, in order to be able to support the driveway. So we have that before you. We submitted the landscape plan as well. So this, like I said, this was previously approved, and it's now going to be done with concrete wall instead of the original, which was landscape stone. And we have a tree permit already in place that, excuse me, it's located less than 8 feet from a property line, so we do meet all the requirements, and we just need a temporary access in order to be able to complete the construction.
And height over 4 feet.
I'm sorry.
Height over 4 feet.
Oh, pardon me, I'm sorry. Height over 4 feet. Above the lowest adjacent grade level. So the side of the property is not visible from the clients to the north either. So 8 feet from the property line, height lowest adjacent grade level. And we require a minimum of 25-foot setback from the boundary or edge of a natural feature or wetland, which we need the temporary access for.
Are there any questions from the board? So I'll open this to the public. Is there anyone that would like to comment on this item? So I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for discussion or a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Okay, so with regard to the appeal at 3115 Franklin Road for the dimensional variance, I move the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome because of the unique topography of the lot. There is no injustice to adjoining neighbors by reason that it will be restored when the project is complete, actually the area within the natural feature setback. The unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated given that it is sloping topography again, and this is not self-created. So if approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits to be made within 1 year for the retaining wall, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction.
Support.
So I have motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you so much.
So item 2P has been postponed, as I said, so we'll move to the next item. Item number 1119 Covington. Is the applicant ready?
Hello, my name is Jamie Ruddy. I'm the owner of the house, and I'm trying to build a pergola in my backyard. And I guess we're asking for a 5.5-foot variance into the rear yard setback. I planted about 70 trees, blue spruce, cedar, and pine trees around the whole property. And they started out at 16 foot, they're going to 20. It's going to be a wall of green. Trying to improve the property from when we bought it in 2020. And I don't think it will affect anyone, because it's pretty much invisible back there with the trees we put in.
So, I'm sorry, what's the height of the trees, you said?
The height of the trees are anywhere right now between 16 and 20.
Okay.
And, I mean, I got a couple of maybe 14, but they're all kind of growing at a different rate.
Okay.
Put them all in about 2 years ago.
Any other questions from the board?
And you're encroaching into the setback because?
I'm sorry,
I said you're encroaching into the rear setback because?
yes, the rear setback is 16, and we're at 10 foot 5, so we're 5'5". One corner of it, it's kind of the lot is skewed, and my house, everything is skewed on the lot on a 45. So, not a 45, it's probably about if you look at you had the plot plan up there
Yeah.
before, you can see everything's kind of skewed. The whole house is on an angle. And we're trying to keep all the landscaping, the pool and everything in line with the house and not the fence line. That corner gets shoved into the setback.
I have a question. Is it visible to your neighbors at all?
I'm sorry?
Is it visible to your neighbors at all?
If you really try to peek around, if you get like back, barely.
Okay.
I mean,
Fair enough.
by next year, no way. I mean, these trees are growing like crazy.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you.
So I'll open this to the public. Anyone would like to comment on this item? I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for further discussion or a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll start with the permission request first for the appeal at 1119 Covington Road for a pergola. Accessory structure, I move that the request be approved as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards. Because the use of the accessory structure is appropriate for the neighborhood, pergolas are very common in our township. In terms of the dimensional variance, also for the pergola, I also move that that be approved as requested based on the information presented. The applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty. Because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome because of the unique shape of the lot and how the home is positioned on it. There will be no injustice to the adjoining neighbors as the lot is actually well screened and it is consistent with other homes in the area. The unique circumstances of the property also because of the orientation of the home on the lot, and because of that it is not self-created. With that said, if approved, the motion also includes applications for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year for the pergola. And I I don't know if additional screening needs to be required for the pergola, but if there are any gaps where it is visible by public view, you may have to, fill those in. And they must meet or exceed the height of the structure at the time of installation.
Oh, yes, they are.
Second.
So I have a motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So calling the next item, item 2, 4384 Charing Cross.
Good evening, Board. My name is Ryan Youngblood, representing our Youngblood and Company, here on behalf of our client, the Emerson residents at 4384 Charing Cross. And our request is to replace 4 existing brick columns that are not masonry and do not match the home, and we're trying to improve the aesthetics. So our target plan is to replace those 4 columns with masonry brick that matches the house exactly. And there's also a small wing wall that extends from the far eastern column. The size will be the same, the lights are the same, the height's the same. Really, it's an aesthetic move for us.
So it's the same structure, you're just switching out the material?
Correct,
Okay.
correct. I mean, it's all new columns, so those, we'll be putting in 42-inch footings with block and then masonry brick to match the house.
I see. So it's a new structure, but it's in the exact same location? with
Correct.
Different material, okay. And the lights are the same?
Lights will be exactly the same.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
I do. You mentioned something about a wing wall?
Yeah, there's a small wing wall if you want to put that right there on the far east.
Okay,
And
yep.
that's just to work with the grade a little bit to develop a plateau for planting.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? I'll open this to the public. Anyone like to comment? So I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for discussion or motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
In the regards to the appeal at 4384 Charing Cross Road, I'll start with the permission request first for the accessory structure of illuminated piers. I request that a request be approved as submitted based on the information presented. The applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards because the size of the accessory structure is compatible, and being that it's just really replacing piers that were already there at the same exact size and height. In terms of the dimensional variance, I also request that that be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome. Basically, because if they were not, they would prevent reasonable use of the property, which means that it's probably identifying where the entrance is. There's no injustice to the adjoining neighbors, as again, this is a replacement of piers that were already there. Unique circumstances with the property, again, we're just looking at this because they are in the front, but other than that, we are replacing something that was existing. And because of that, it is not self-created. With that said, if approved, the motion also includes application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year for the illuminated piers. Additional evergreen plantings may be required to screen the pier from public view. Plantings must meet or exceed the height of the piers at the time, and that could be something that could soften them as well.
Second.
So I have a motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your
Thank you very
request
much
is
for your time.
granted.
Really appreciate it.
So calling item 3, 85 Devon Road.
Good evening. My name is Randy Hike with Action Fence. I'm representing my customer Joe at 85 Devon Road. We're looking to replace a over 25-year-old wooden cedar 6-foot tall privacy fence with a new tan vinyl privacy fence in the exact same location, same height. Trying to swap out basically we've been repairing this fence for 15 years and our customer's now just ready to move on to something that needs 0 to no maintenance.
Do we have any questions from the board?
Was there already existing plantings in front of this fence so the neighbors couldn't see it?
No.
And is that the, do you know, is that the color that's gonna be
It's
used?
tan, correct.
Tan, okay.
It's, his house is mainly white. We did tan so it matches the neighbor's trim,
Oh.
not his trim.
Okay.
Yeah, when I looked at the pictures, my question was, that other fence looked like it had been there for some time, and you said 25 years.
Plus, 25 plus.
Yeah, because it looked pretty worn.
Originally, when I sold this fence, I went to a Bloomfield Hills house, not knowing it was in the township. Sold him the fence, and then I come to find out it's in the township. I'm like, so. Because it's in a weird spot where it's at. It could be the hills, it could be the township.
And you're maintaining the 6-foot height as well?
Correct,
Okay, and that's what the height of the existing.
correct.
Is there a reason why you want to keep it at 6 feet, just out of curiosity?
Privacy concerns. It's a pool.
Both of my neighbors have little kids, like 5, and the other one has a 2 and a 3-year-old and a 4 or 5-year-old. And I mean, they do come over, but I don't want them going under the fence, whatever they want. It's at 4 foot, they put shields and
Any other questions from the board? So I'll open this to the public for comment. Anyone like to speak on this item? I'll close the public comment, then bring it back to the board for discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd be willing to make a motion.
Okay.
In regard to the appeal at 85 Devon Road for the dimensional variance to replace the existing 6-foot-high fence with a new vinyl 6-foot-high fence, I move the variance be approved as requested based on the information provided. The applicant did demonstrate all of the standards for practical difficulty because they do need to replace the existing 6-foot fence due to its current condition. And compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome given the fact that there's an existing fence there already. The neighbors are used to the 6-foot fence. There's a concern on the part of the owner to protect neighboring children from getting into the area because there is a pool. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason of the fact they're used to that 6-foot fence, and no one that we understand wants it to not be there or be replaced. Unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated, given the fact that it's going right into the same location that the existing fence has been, and it's not self-created due to the fact that it's an existing fence and they're simply replacing the one that's there. If approved, the motion must include all applications for necessary permits must be made within 1 year for the fence. Additional evergreen plantings may be required to screen the fence from public view. And plantings must meet or exceed the height of the fence at the time of installation for 12 months of the year. The finished side of the fence must face the exterior.
Support. So we have motion and support. So I'll just say as part of the discussion is, typically the 6-foot fence, we require screening. I think, the motion kind of articulates, this is a bit different in that it's existed, it's been there for a significant amount of time. And I guess if you just look at the aesthetics of it, this fence is an improvement over, what's there now. So I'll just kind of make that. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you.
Chair, can we have clarification on the May screen? Because this is instance that there are no evergreen screening along the fence line. So the motion includes a reference to May, and most likely it will be viewed and publicly viewed by all 3 sides, if not 4 sides, from public view. So we need a clarification.
So we have a motion that we voted on that we need. So what would we do procedurally to do that? I guess we'd have to have a motion to clarify the previous, or is it just a request?
The maker of the motion could actually reopen the motion to clarify the intent for screening.
Okay, so we'll
Okay.
need to do that.
I'd be willing to do that, Mr.
Okay,
Chair.
so we have a motion and a second from someone?
Second.
Second,
Okay.
to clarify the previous motion. Hold on. So I guess now we're discussing
Correct.
what was the intent of the word may in the screening part of it.
So what was intended was just that if there's a desire to put in some plantings, I mean, obviously, you know, the board, we're not going to have any problems with that because normally we require screening. If this becomes an issue, Mr. Chair, I'd be willing to remove the mention in the second bullet point regarding additional evergreen plantings may be required.
Well, it has to be screened. right?
Yeah.
Can we go back to look at the original?
It's,
What
I
is-
think, important to keep the verbiage about additional screening because it should be screened from public view. Like most fences,
Right.
we require a screen from public view.
Is it currently screened? Does not look,
No,
doesn't
it's
appear
not.
to
So
be.
that was kind of the point of my
Then why do we have
comments.
a
Maybe that
clarification from the
should have
applicant?
been clear itself, is typically you'd have to screen that fence.
We do have a point of information from the applicant on the location of the
Okay.
fence.
So, the north side, it's completely screened from the neighbor side.
Mhm.
They're the neighbor's trees. If we were to bring in the fence in order to screen that side, you're just planting trees that will die. Because normally when you guys say you must screen, it must be screened on your property, because what if the
Right.
neighbor takes out the trees?
Correct.
And I understand that completely. What I'm saying is, I can't put a 6-foot privacy solid fence and then brand new trees and then have trees that are already there, because the new trees are just gonna die. There's no way for them to work. And to be what you said, this fence has been here for 25 years unscreened and is just getting worse and worse and worse. I wouldn't wanna put extra cost onto my customer. We're upgrading it all the way around. They've seen the fence for 25 years the same way.
Could you show me a picture of the fence just before the replacement? And so that's not screened.
That is the inside.
Okay, so the other side does not have.
There's more pictures somewhere.
Yeah, and I even asked the staff if
Right
there was,
there.
because of the age of the fence, there isn't an existing variance for the current 6-foot fence. So it's just been there a long time, so it's almost like a non-conformity that you have to decide.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the other part of it is that the new fence appears that it would be even more visible
Yes.
because of the color change.
Mhm.
I mean, this
Yes.
one's wood, this one's going to be vinyl, and it's going to be a lighter color, so it's going to be visible,
Correct.
even more so. And maybe it's just needs to be screened on the sides that are visible. I mean, that's what the motion usually states is, you know, the public, wherever it's viewed publicly, needs to be screened. And if there's not I can understand the variance needed for the side that is screened with where the neighbor's screening, that makes sense. I mean, it would not make sense to move it in and then put double rows of trees. I agree with you on that, but on the other side of the fence where it is visible, and it's going to be even more visible with the new fence, and it's going to be 6 foot. Is it 6 feet or?
6
feet. So-
It's 6 feet,
A
yes.
6 foot
That's why we're discussing it.
tall fence. So Ed, it's your motion, so considering our discussion, how would you like to have it?
Well, I guess I'd like to ask the applicant then, is there some place where you could plant screening?
So on the click 2 pictures over, that side right there, we could probably plant screening there. However, that line is on the bottom right picture. That line is more than probably 30 feet into his property. That, I mean, if you have a building or something, if your house is 30 feet away, you can see your house plain as day, you're not screening that. But the back side technically is only about that far away from his pool deck. So I can't really move it in enough to put trees on the other side. It would be on the, if you're looking at that picture, kind of at the end of the pool, that deck goes all the way back to that red line, and then it kind of curves around. So it'd be difficult on the 68.64 foot side to bring the fence in enough to actually get plantings behind it. The 59 foot side and the 15 foot side, yeah, I could see no problem. But again, like the 59 foot side is so far away from the neighbor's property. And the house behind him was bought sometime during COVID and has been empty the entire time. The guy bought a foreclosure and it's just, looks like hell.
Right, but I mean, someone will move, you know, we're trying to enforce the standards of the ordinance and
Certainly.
Right.
kind of, want to assume a growing community and people moving in.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'm not clear that we have consensus on a motion. You know, me personally, the fence has been there, the neighbors are used to it, it's gonna look very professional. Normally, I make a big deal out of screening, but the fact that there's never been any screening, I just don't feel as strongly about it as I might in other circumstances where something new is going up and maybe neighbors are gonna have a problem with it. I'm more concerned about the community, the surrounding community, than anything else, and harmony within the community, so may I withdraw my motion?
You can make a
You
motion
can-
to
you can
withdraw.
make a
Okay,
motion
I'd like to
saying-
make a motion to withdraw my motion. If I can get support.
Support.
Okay, so we
So I have a
have,
motion and second on to withdraw the motion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so now we need another motion.
Right.
So, just so I'm clear then, the areas, could you just repeat the areas where?
So along the, let's call it that 15-foot side and the 59-foot side, it would be possible to screen. Again, it's probably more than 30 feet away from the neighbor's property line, another 30 feet to their house. And then it goes downhill. So it's one of those things where you're going to see it.
I own the lot next door.
Okay. So you're going to see it no matter what it is, and screen it or not, they're higher than he is. So
Which house does he own? Which other lot does he own? To the south?
to the right.
To the right of the house, I own, it's 2 lots,
okay.
and it's an empty lot that I have.
When-
Is that a
Yeah, when you say
buildable lot?
right, I'm having trouble with right and left.
South,
North,
bottom.
south. So 111.
No, he owns the lot, the space in between.
Oh, that's considered another
Oh.
lot.
It's all considered one lot, but it's a
It's
Okay,
two-lot
it's con-
parcel.
Okay. All right, I would like to make a motion.
Go right ahead.
So, in regards to the appeal at 85 Devon Road for the dimensional variance for the fence to exceed the 4 feet in height, I moved the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty because in compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome because it has been there for 25 years, it was already permitted in place, we were just replacing it in kind. There are no injustice to the adjoining neighbors because it should be an upgrade from a 25-year fence, and you guys are already trying to make it match the colors of neighbors to appeal to them. The unique circumstances of this property have been demonstrated because of where the pool deck is, where the pool is to the north, as well as the neighbors' already vegetation and screening. This is not self-created because it's been there for 25 years. So if approved, the motion must include, so the applicant must have all necessary permits made within 1 year of the fence. Additional evergreen plantings will be required to screen the fence from public view for the following areas. Can we go, Andrea, can you go a couple back so I can see the outline?
Here we go.
For the 59 feet, 15 feet, and 11 feet will all have to be screened from public view.
Support.
Not to
Wait a
exceed
minute.
the height of the fence, installation of 12 months, the finished side of the fence must face the exterior.
Okay. Go ahead now. Support. Okay. So I have a motion and support. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Your request as modified in the second motion is granted.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Patty, for asking for that clarification. Calling the next item, item 4, 1500 West Long Lake.
Good evening, board. I'm back again. The evening is going good with approvals. I hope I can continue that. This is my first time in front of you guys, not asking for permission, but forgiveness. We have a small garden fence that we installed in order to protect trees that we planted. The fence is in the front yard. The fence is 100% screened from all neighboring properties. You can see the bottom right picture. We planted an alley of trees that line our homeowner's property. And believe it or not, within 2 or 3 months, Amazon truck drivers and delivery drivers were smashing the trees. So the idea was to put in a small garden fence to try to give some visual barrier there. That fence is 39 inches tall. And again, the hardship that we've ran across right here is that we had to protect the trees. So the fence is installed. You can see that it's very strongly screened from all sides. The homeowner that we're working for happens to own a large piece of property right there. And like I said, from all sides and Long Lake Road, there is no visual sight to this fence.
How tall is it?
39 inches.
So it's sort of to delineate where the road is. It's kind of a visual.
Yeah, it's a driveway that was installed, and then we lined trees on the driveway. And Amazon and other delivery trucks were coming and driving very close to the trees and smashing the branches. So the idea was to put this garden fence in for a visual kind of
Alignment.
reminder. And
Okay.
the fence is working very nicely.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? So I'll open this to the public. Anyone like to comment on this item? I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for discussion. Motion?
Mr.
make-
Chair, go ahead, there you go.
I'd like to make a motion on this. For the, in regards to the appeal at 1500 West Long Lake Road for the dimensional variance for the existing front yard fence, I move for the variance to be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty because in compliance with strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome because the fence is there to protect trees. We're a pro-tree community. We have people want to screen their stuff. This is a great way to protect those trees. There's no injustice to adjoining neighbors because you cannot see this. I know where this property is. It sits up on that hill. It's all screened. So even though it is in the front yard, it is completely not visible 365 days of the year. The unique circumstances of this property have been demonstrated because it is only there to keep people on the driveway. This is not self-created due to other people have already run into your trees, and all we're trying to do is protect them. If approved, the motion for all, the applicant for all necessary permits must be made within 5 business days for the existing fence. Additional evergreen screenings may be required. You already have enough screenings, so we don't need to do that. And with that, I look for any support.
Support?
So I have a motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
So calling item 5, 1766 Gulf Ridge.
Good evening, Matt Mosier representing the homeowners at 1766 South Gulf Ridge. This request is part of a bigger project, but it is a request for 2 fire bowls at the end of a pool that we have designed. Because it's over 9 inches tall, we need a variance. Pretty straightforward. This house sits on a golf course, so when we did design the evergreen screening, we actually kept it back a little bit, so when the neighbors look through, they get the view of the golf course, and it's not blocked. We did meet with the association and got full approval. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board? I'll open this for the public for comment. Anyone who would like to comment on this item? Close public comment, bring it back to the board.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
In regard to the appeal at 1766 South Gulf Ridge Drive for the accessory structure, I move the request be approved as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards because the use of the accessory structure is appropriate to the neighborhood as it's a pretty typical feature to have in a neighborhood like this. So, if approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits to be made within 1 year for the piers. Additional evergreen plantings shall be required to screen the piers from public view, and the plantings must meet or exceed the height of the piers at the time of installation for 12 months of the year.
Support.
I have motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations.
Thank
your
you.
request is granted. So calling item 6, 3200 Barron Drive.
Good evening. My name is Matt Iwaniki. I am representing MEI Construction on behalf of Barron Estates HOA. And we are seeking approval for 4 entry gates leading in and out of the neighborhood.
Any questions from the board? We'll open this to the public. Anyone like to comment on this item? I'll close the public hearing for discussion on this item. So how far does the gate, when it opens, how far does that gate swing back?
Each gate's going to be about 10 feet wide. So it's going to have about a 10-foot swing.
And so will it be at a right angle to the, because I understand there was some concern by one of the property owners right at the entrance that the gate might swing under a property. It doesn't seem like that's physically possible given the...
It shouldn't, because there's curbs. I think it's going to either be before the curb, it'll stop. I mean, we're putting operators on it, or it's going to be over the curb.
Okay.
And it's not interfering with any driveways or anything like that, you know, so you'll be able to pull in and out.
Okay. And these are tall gates.
They are.
9
They're
feet?
tall because the pillars are tall. I think if you went with short gates, I don't think it would look very well, you know.
Yeah, it's a very majestic
Yeah,
entrance.
it is. The pillars are already existing. They're already built.
Okay.
So we're kind of building to what is there.
Yeah.
And I just have a question. With these gates, is there a way for all public safety to be able to go in and out without
oh
a
yeah,
problem?
for sure.
Is
That's-
there,
yeah,
is there like through a queue, or do they just have a passcode?
There's like a fire box, so like fire department and I believe police department, they have, they're the only ones that have a key that fit this. So in an emergency, they can get in and out. Yeah,
Okay,
for
so
sure.
it
That's
could
part of it.
delay the delay getting into the subdivision because of that.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay.
There's also a request for a hold harmless, so, you know, should there be a need to go through the gates, then that's the, at the expense of the HOA.
Mhm.
Mr. Chair, I can make a motion.
Okay.
I'll do the permissional request first. In regard to the appeal at 3200 Barron Drive, for the accessory structure, I move the request to be approved and submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards, based on the fact that the accessory structure shall be harmonious in the neighborhood. Given the fact that it's the entrance to a subdivision, it's not really affecting neighbors, but it's creating that grand entrance that I think this subdivision needs. And then as far as the dimensional variance, in regard to the appeal at the same address, 3200 Barron Drive, for the gates variance, I move the variance be approved as requested based on the information presented. The applicant did demonstrate all the standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome because we're trying to match the height of the pillars that exist. There's no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason that is entrance to a subdivision. Unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated given the fact that it's existing and we're trying again to match the height, and this is not self-created. If approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits made within 1 year for the proposed accessory structures, and all permits must be obtained prior to installation. A hold harmless must be filed with the township for the driveway gate.
Support.
So I have motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you.
So calling the next item, item 7, 6060 Worlington.
Hello, my name is Zach Ribbitwer. I'm the property owner of 6060 Worlington. My wife and I are seeking a variance into the rear setback so that we can age in place in our existing house and keep the architecture style as a ranch home for future and long-term accessibility in the house. We actually feel that building the addition backwards will be the least disruptive to our neighbors.
because it's not really visible from the street. It also backs up in between the lot line of our rear neighbors. It doesn't back up necessarily to the home. We've added full privacy screening, row of evergreens behind the addition to keep the privacy of our neighbors' homes. All the colors, materials will match the existing house, same roof line. We explored building upwards. There's major structural challenges. We will have to move out of the house if we went that route for an undetermined period of time. We have 2 young children. It's only a 3-bedroom home built on a slab, which we didn't build, we bought, so it's not a self-created issue. And I appreciate your guys' consideration. Any questions?
So could we go back to the aerial view? The one that kind of showed the entire, no, there was another, yeah, that one. So, yeah, you don't have a lot of good options for expanding your house.
Yeah, that's been our problem, is we don't really have many options. And it's currently, as I mentioned, 3-bedroom, and we have 2 children. Not to get personal, I know we're not ruling out a third, so we really use extra space for storage in the bedroom.
Okay, yeah,
So the existing home's already encroaching into the setback.
right,
correct?
yeah,
It's
so now
encroaching
we're
into
now we're
the
making it.
Yeah, it's encroaching
bigger
into the side
encroachment,
setback, so we
yeah.
actually pulled it back a foot, so we don't need the side setback. We're trying to be as reasonable as possible.
So you did bring it in a foot?
Yeah, we brought it in a foot, so that it's a foot in from the existing structure, so we're not encroaching. I had emailed with somebody.
Okay.
And sent them a revised copy.
What's
of
the
plans.
size of your lot?
Do
you know?
I don't know offhand.
Third of an
It
acre.
actually says .33 acres.
Okay, yeah, so that's
It's not a huge lot.
not a big
It's-
lot, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll open this to the public. Anyone that'd like to comment on this item?
Yeah, we have a problem with this. We're the
So
neighbors.
I'm sorry, you have to go up to the
Go to the
podium.
mic?
Yep.
Okay.
You have to give us your name and address. So your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Raphael Price. Our address is 6035 Wing Lake Road, and we are the neighbors directly behind Mr. Ribbert Weird family. And obviously, as we stated, the proposed project is an encroachment on the setback line. Furthermore, we really value our privacy. We've really worked for the last 15 years to beautify the landscape, pouring tens of thousands of dollars into the backyard, the front yard as well. And a couple years ago, a winter storm came through the backyard and completely damaged the existing green privacy screen that was back there that is really on their lot line. And they left it untreated. And so we're asking that they would put 9 to 12-foot evergreens there to replace the damaged ones. Because I believe the plans say that it's going to be 5-foot evergreen trees, but that's not going to be enough to provide the privacy to mitigate the effect of the encroachment. And we have a 7-year-old, and so we value her privacy and safety as well. And any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So you're not against them putting the project in, you just want them to put 12-foot trees in to completely block it from your house. Is that
Right.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Would you like to add that? Yes, we want to have those 12-foot trees in there so that we're not seeing into their house and they're not seeing what we're having for dinner at night.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. That was well said. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak on this item? All right, so I'll close the public hearing and ask the applicant to respond to the public comments.
Again, we're happy to plant and landscaping and screening to block out the addition. And feel again, if we build upwards, that it's more intrusive because we're gonna be looking right into their kitchen all day, every day, which is why we're looking for this variance for the rear setback, for everyone's privacy sake.
So the request is acceptable, because you're gonna have to
Yeah.
screen to the height of the structure. Okay.
Acceptable.
All right. All right.
Oh, but that's also along the power lines. Isn't there certain trees that we're allowed to plant in the power lines and in the easements?
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
you would have, yes, you'd have DTE or,
So we're planting trees in the easements. I know we're talking about this at the last board meeting. So there are certain trees and types of species you're allowed to plant into it because as they grow, they will grow into the power lines and then they're gonna cut them. So we'll have to work on what type of greenery would have to be planted. Does that make sense to you, Mr. Price?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not supposed to address those other people, I apologize.
that's all right. This is an entirely different setting. It's very cozy. Just trying to expedite the best results, so whatever sometimes that takes is fine. So, okay. So how much room do you have I wonder how much the clearance, don't know that.
Well, there appears to be 11-foot setback,
Yeah.
so he's got 11 feet to work with, depending on what the dimension is of the easement. He'll have to present a proposal to how to accommodate that screening
Okay.
and whether it can be met outside of that area. And in what species, too.
Because there should be a utility easement on file for where that power line is, right?
That would be something that they would have to produce for
Yeah.
us. We don't necessarily have all records, but yes.
That the burden's on them when they do their site plan and
Exactly.
their
Correct,
surveyor.
part of the building permit.
So, I mean, where is the power line in relation to your property line, best estimate?
It's basically right behind those set of trees, like right behind and up. I would say right behind that row.
Okay.
If you,
Didn't mean to do that.
yeah, it's hard to say. They would literally be.
We'll figure it out.
So there's a fence and the power lines are probably right along the lot line, almost exactly.
That makes sense.
So Patty, in these cases, does the utility kind of weigh in on or does he just take because maybe if he pulls them in, they can go up higher with less
And
chance?
exactly, they would have to work with
Yeah, I'm sure I
the,
can pull them in order
Right.
to the backyard
company,
if I
yes.
have to, and then
Right.
stagger it back
Is
up.
it-
They
If
have to
the-
satisfy that, yes.
If the priority is to be respectful of your neighbors, to have additional space in your house, you may have to just sacrifice that part of your yard in
Yeah,
order
and
to do that.
We're happy to do that.
Okay, that's good to
We
hear.
want the privacy as well, so.
Okay. All right. Does that sound good to you?
We have to talk to the city and see how high they will let us plant them, but if they will let us plant them 12 feet, we'd be happy to accommodate. We have to submit to the building department, we have to go through the building department, I believe that's the process.
That's all public information, so
Yeah.
you're more than welcome to come in and take a look at the plans that are submitted at any time he makes application within the given year. We don't, but we would contact the association, and the burden would be on the applicant to make sure that that information is provided.
And I'll just say in these situations,
I'll give you that.
yeah, communication is good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll give you a copy of it, the current one. Not a problem.
All right, so that, your cooperation would be, I think, critical to the success of this, because you're
Yeah.
asking for a fairly significant variance. It seems, in theory, we've kind of got a good
Absolutely.
plan
And
here,
I've
but just
been in
make-
contact with
okay.
Mr. Price and all the
Okay.
other neighbors as well, trying to be as reasonable and accommodating as possible for
Okay.
everyone.
Yeah,
I will continue to do
that's,
so.
that's very good thinking on your part, and appreciate it.
Yes,
Mhm.
thank you.
All right, so are we ready for a motion?
Yes. Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Okay, so with regard to the appeal at 6060 Worlington Road for the dimensional variance, I move the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome due to the size of the lot. There is no injustice to adjoining neighbors by reason that this addition will be screened with evergreen plantings that are 12 feet tall, and it will be screened from neighbor view 365 days of the year. Unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated that given the, it's basically the limitations of the size of the lot and the ability to go up, and this is not self-created. So if approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits to be made within 1 year for the addition. And I am going to reiterate that the evergreen plantings that will be determined where the appropriate place is to plant them so that this is screened from your neighbor's view, and that you're committed to notifying your neighbor, sounds like via email if that's sufficient, and work well together to make sure that happens.
Support.
So I motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Congrats for your time tonight.
Yep.
So we're calling item 8, 1265 Club Drive.
I'm calling, just went outside.
Bad timing. He heard so many different things, you know.
Now he's in hot water with his wife on top of that. He's
Should
in
we
trouble.
table it?
Want to table it and then we'll just come back to it? Chairman, you want to give him a minute?
There we go.
Here we go.
We're good.
We thought we lost you.
I
you
know,
waited-
the gentleman who's supposed to build the pool got a ZPA in Troy, so he just called me, he's on his way here, but I can start without him.
Okay,
with him.
I have great confidence in your presentation. So go right ahead.
You guys approved everybody, I hope I'm not gonna be the first. This is supposedly a very easy appeal, I hope. It's for pillars for a gate, and it's basically in line with all the neighbors. All my neighbors, 90% of the neighbors were the Club Drive have the same pillars, almost same height. It's a 4 foot by 30 inch by 30 inch by 4 foot high pillars on each side with the gate. The gate's going to be 3 feet high, and it's going to have double gates. And also there's a retaining wall there that it's to prevent because what we did, we raised the house, the entrance of the house about 2 feet high or 3 feet, and this is a retaining wall to prevent the mud to go from the driveway into the ditch by the street. Also, we have 2 fireballs. The pool was approved by the ZBA about a year and a half ago, but we did not have the fireballs features, which my wife wants them. So that's another extra expense. And also
Don't say that in front of her.
I'm sorry.
That's not
And
good
also
strategy.
also I have there's a fire pit in the backyard, which is about 1 foot high. It's going to be in the backyard. That's what I'm asking for. 4 things.
And but the nice thing is the greatest height of any of the structures that you want is 4 feet, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And the only dimensional variance that we have here is because we have some of these located in the front yard. So that makes it a little bit.
I just want to note that there's no fire pit that's shown on this plan, so I'm not sure where the fire pit proposal, that's not included.
It's in the application.
We didn't include it as part of the request.
And where is it located?
I don't know if you can.
You have to notify the neighbors.
So we would have to re-notice.
It's actually this one,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Is it on a patio?
It's in the patio, yeah, on the patio.
Okay.
In the backyard in the patio. It's about 50,
It's
60
built
feet
into
in.
the patio.
It's built
Yeah.
in the patio, on the
Okay.
ground level patio.
Okay.
So if it's incorporated into a patio that's associated and immediately adjacent to the house, which in this instance it appears to be the case, the fire pit would not need approval from the zoning board, so.
That's correct.
So clarify that.
You're really doing an amazing job as the presenter. Way to go. So any other questions from the board? So I'll open this to the public. Anyone would like to speak on this item? So close the public hearing and bring it back to the board. So the fire bowl or fire pit is not.
Well, with the
need-
fire bowls are yes,
Fire
fire
bowl.
pit no.
Fire pit, no.
Right.
Fire pit is part of the
Patio.
patio.
Right.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll start with the permission request first. In regards to the appeal at 1265 Club Drive, for the accessory structure of a front yard landscape wall, gate, piers, and rear yard firebowl, spa, and piers. I move that the request be approved as submitted based on the information presented. The applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards. Because the use of such accessory structures is appropriate for the neighborhood. These are very common accessory structures, especially for a home such as this one. In terms of the dimensional variance at the same location, I also moved the dimensional variance for the walls, the gate, and the piers located in the front yard. I also moved that be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty. Because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome, basically because it would prevent reasonable use of the property in terms of the amenities. There's no injustice to the adjoining neighbors. Again, that this is consistent with other homes in the area. The unique circumstances of the property, also because it slopes and the retaining walls would be, retaining the ground there, and because of that, it is not self-created. If approved, the motion also includes application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year for the accessory structures. Additional evergreen plantings may be required to screen any accessory structures from public view, and the planting must meet or exceed the height of the fence at the time of installation for 12 months of the year. And also, you need to have a hold harmless must be filed with the township for the driveway gate.
Support. So just because Patty pointed this out before, we've got the word may in the motion.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I'll go back and
Right,
clarify.
Patty?
Thank you.
Yes, okay,
I'll go back.
So we can't do that, right?
I'm going to go back.
We got to learn from past
Additional
experience.
evergreen
Okay.
plantings will be required to screen any accessory structure that is viewed by the public. And plantings must meet or exceed the height of the fence at the time of installation, 12 months of the year.
Okay, so we
Support.
So we have motion support. So are you clear on that you're going to have to screen those things?
When you say things, again, you say
Okay,
may.
yeah, in the backyard.
The backyard,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so we ought to sort of clarify that. So those things in the front, right? Where are we saying it's everything, or those in the front are taken differently than those in the back? Right. So he's got.
The fence in the front is only 2 feet high, and then what I intentionally made it, it's a stone that's 5 feet, 4 feet tall, and about 1 foot high. And I also made it every 48 inches. I made a gap between the bottom stones for the turtles to go from the wetland to the lake.
Because those are
Because and also so because I seen them going back and forth, and I don't get trapped. So basically, I made a gap, like a little gate at the bottom every 4 feet for them to cross by. And I videotape. I didn't have the videotape. I videotaped one of them going through that.
Oh, nice.
It was amazing. So anyway,
That's great.
But the height of that fence is only 2 feet high, and I don't think I'm going to need to screen
that. Yeah, anything that's, from public view, and I was thinking more in the rear accessories, because those are the
Right,
ones that
so
are
that's the
more
And
prominent.
the other reason for that fence is because there's if you look at the plans, there's a street like 90 degrees to our house, and I don't want somebody drive straight into my home.
Yeah.
So he's got piers, a steel gate, and then the landscape walls in the front, and then and that would need to be. Again, we're kind of clarifying. We're not asking for it's those things that are in the rear yard.
Correct.
Screening only in the rear.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So are we clear?
I
on
have that in
Screening
motion.
only
Okay.
rear, yep.
Make sure he knows.
So let's
And
see.
when you mention screening into the backyard, because the township made me dig the backyard about 4 feet lower because the elevation in the front to have a walkout basement. So with the fireballs and the pool, I'm still going to be almost level with the neighbor's property. Do I still need screening on top of that?
Your neighbors can't see any of that.
They're not going to see it, you see, unless they come into the edge of my property and stand there. And it's going to be a whole fence because I'm going to have a pool fence, which I'm going to also screen it with evergreens. So
So as
that's
long-
going to be completely
So as long as the plans that are reflecting of what he is saying is part of the building permit or the permit review
We'll
process.
keep it in the motion, and it sounds like you're
confirm that.
complying with it.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
We'll confirm
Okay.
that, yes.
All right. So let's see, we had a motion, support,
Yep.
and I think we're clarified. So all those in favor with the motion as clarified, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is
so much.
granted.
Good job.
Good luck.
I'm Rochelle Wojcik, representing the Wojcik family at 6020 Old Orchard. So we're looking for a quick approval, hopefully, to solve a problem that we have with hardship right now. 6 months ago, 6 months ago, we lost my sister unexpectedly. This was her property. She lived there with my mom. And it's been a tough 6 months. But what we found was that Winter and 2 German Shepherds do not mix with a senior citizen. And so what we have to do right now is take the dogs out by leash. And you can see my mom in the corner there. It's very hard. She fell. We had to call 911. I'm not always standing there to take the dogs out myself. I have my own home still in Dearborn. And so what we're looking to do is just screen in our existing patio and a little bit further back so that we can just open up the Florida ring door, let the dogs out, and there's no walking outside on leashes in inclement weather. So we have, it's just a 4 foot high standard fence. It's in like the middle of our property. The property is bordered on 3 sides by woods. I have support, and I submitted a letter with support from the neighbors that do, border us.
And what's the height of the fence?
4 foot.
And so are the woods that surround, so who can would people be able to see, so we've talked about screening, are people, your neighbors gonna be able to see the fence?
They're all quite far away, given they're over 50 to 75 feet away from where the fence would be, and there's woods through there, so I don't know. They would have to be looking to really notice it, but timing is the essence here. We're, happy to do whatever we need to do. We just need to get a solution in place quickly.
So you'd screen it then, is what you're saying?
I
To get
mean,
the solution?
If you tell me what needs to be screened, so what we don't want to do is create a little fence and then screening right around it. We would have to screen back more at the woods. But the woods right now, you can see we have pine trees also inside the property, just so it's, even further.
So you can decide on the locations, you can put it, as long as it's screened from public view, that's what the ordinance requires. So does that sound good? Or possible?
So can that be delayed versus the fence moving forward?
You could apply for a
Okay.
permit for the fence
Right.
and get the fence installed. The permit wouldn't be finalized until that evergreen was in place. So you could apply for the permit, have it installed. The evergreen would be a condition of the
Okay.
finalization of the permit.
We can move forward with building.
Yes.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
Yes.
Sound good?
That's fine.
So let's see, did I open this to the public hearing? So I'll open this to the public. Does anyone like to comment on this? So I'll close the public hearing. Oh,
What evergreen are you talking about?
so wait a minute, would you like to go up and give your name and address?
This is just the demo part of the meeting where imagine ice and big German shepherds.
I heard the word evergreen.
So
Where's
they're
an evergreen going?
talking about further screening along the woods. Just
Which
so that
woods?
no-
So could you give your name and address? So-
Oh, my name is Joyce Wojcik. I'm the one who
Okay.
inherited the house from my daughter.
Gotcha, so you're the property owner and
And
this
her
is,
two
gotcha.
All
All
German
right,
shepherds.
Okay.
I'm good with, keeping them on a leash, but in the winter especially, it's very, very difficult for
Mhm.
me on snow and ice. So I need something that I can open the door and
Yeah.
let them out.
Mhm,
And
yeah.
it's basically just going around the patio.
okay.
our neighbors don't really see it. And I think they wrote letters, right?
Yeah,
that
we
said-
did get letters of
Yeah.
support.
Support letters.
Because it's in the middle of the back of the house.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, we can see that,
So they're
okay.
just suggesting further screening at the woods line so that neighbors absolutely can't see.
People with the chain link fence, that area?
Yeah, there, we do.
That area,
Across the hall, I don't know.
which area do you want me to put?
Just so you can't see, you can decide, just as long as it screens it from public view. Whatever most convenient for you, if it's, you know, on the
Well,
property
what is
line.
public view, my next door neighbors?
Next door neighbors are the public, yeah.
Okay, well, they're fine with this, so I can.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we're ready for motion?
I can make a motion.
Okay.
Okay, in regard to the appeal at 6020 Old Orchard Road, for accessory structure, I move the request be approved as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards. Based on the fact that the location of the accessory structure will not hinder or discourage the adjacent use of property due to it meeting the setback requirements and set in from the property, and will be screened from public view. If approved, the motion must include application for all permits made within 1 year for the proposed dog fence, and all permits must be obtained prior to installation. Additional evergreen plantings will be required to screen the dog fence from public view, and plantings must meet or exceed the height of the fence at the time of installation for 12 months of the year. I don't think that we need to have the finished side of the fence face the exterior, because this is a black fence. It's the same on both sides.
Support.
Motion and support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted. So item 10 is postponed, so we'll go to item 11, 3675 West Maple.
Good evening. My name is Richard Rassel. I represent the Plum Market Corporation. I'm an attorney at Williams, Ratner, and Plunkett in Birmingham, Michigan, 380 North Old Woodward, Birmingham, Michigan. As I mentioned, I represent Plum Market. This location is at Maple and Lasser, a very familiar site to those that reside in the area. I want to introduce a couple of folks I have with me today. If there's any questions, I have the project architect, Alex Soroki from the Soroki Architecture Firm, and Paul Dunslager from Plum Market, and Paul is the head of new projects. So what is the new project we're here to talk to you about tonight? That new project is that Plum Market, which has been in the existing location at Maple and Telegraph since 2007 and has been the anchor tenant in that center, currently occupying 36% of the overall square footage in the center and 23% of the store frontage area, is taking over the Rite Aid space. The Rite Aid space, as you know, due to the national news about Rite Aid's bankruptcy and the closure of many of the stores across the country, the real estate obviously in many towns across America has been vacant. Rite Aid has been in the existing location in what is known as the Bloomfield Common Shopping Center that we're all very familiar with at Lasser and Maple, a very prominent corner, one of the commercial corners for Bloomfield Township, and an important draw for other retailers and other commercial businesses in the area. Rite Aid was in that location for 30 years. And customers and patrons of the Rite Aid were very familiar that that's where the location of that store was. When the center was designed, the Rite Aid store was a specially designated 10,000 square foot store within the center. It had its own signage, it had its own entrance, it had its own commercial features, of course, and it worked well next to the Plum Market. Fortunately, Plum Market's business allows it to take that space. It's good for the shopping center to have the anchor tenant be busy and to take vacant, empty frontage that fits within the existing zoning district, which it does, of course, in this business zoning district. And what we're going to do is we're simply going to expand the Plum Market store an additional 10,000 square feet. So that would bring the total square footage for the Plum Market to just over 32,000 square feet, and would bring the total retail space in the center to over 52%. So over half the center now will be a Plum Market, with 39% of the overall frontage occupied by Plum Market. So we think this is good for the community. Plum Market's a community asset. In many ways, it employs high-paying employees. It provides high-quality goods, high-quality groceries, high-quality specialty, you name it. They have it at that store. And it's a draw for the other commercial tenants in the area. So what we're asking for here today is for a smaller accessory sign to take place what was a larger Rite Aid sign, wall sign. We're allowed one wall sign by right, and we're replacing the existing wall sign that's in the Plum Market today with a non-variance-based 149 square foot new sign. But to allow a second sign where the Rite Aid was always intended to be a separate store requires a variance, because you can only have, without a variance, one wall sign per user. But based on the proportionality of our existence within the shopping center and the intention of the Rite Aid always to be a separate store, what we're trying to avoid here today is customer confusion. Customers have been going to that Rite Aid store for 30 years. They're used to seeing the Rite Aid specifically marked by a much larger Rite Aid sign than what we're proposing. We're proposing only a 45.2 specially designed. Really what it amounts to be is an accessory sign for a tenant that's taking up over 50% of the shopping center, while the remainder of our tenants, the tenants in the Bloomfield Commons Shopping Center, will have the benefit of being able to take advantage of a full wall sign, which they all have. What we think we're proposing tonight is both, we think, reasonable, and we think it's proportional, and we think it provides for cohesion with customers who are appearing at Plum Market and will be surprised for a period of time to find that the Rite Aid is now part of Plum. This isn't a second entrance. The entrance will still be in the same location. This isn't going to affect the parking field. What it's going to allow for is parking traffic and customer traffic to be correctly directed to the fact that they are now shopping at a 10,000 square foot larger Plum Market store, which is thriving in that location. So I should have mentioned this earlier in my hopefully brief presentation, but I did provide a January 27th letter to you that's in your packets. The letter takes you through all of the zoning variance requirements to establish what we think is a practical difficulty, respectfully. And we did attach photos for you of the Rite Aid signage. And you can see that what we're proposing, which Andrea has on the display now, is actually significantly smaller than the now vacated Rite Aid sign. Is that in the packet, Andrea? If we could pull a couple of the photos of what used to be at the Rite Aid.
If it's part of your letter, they would have a copy of it.
Okay.
We have a
You
copy.
if everyone has copies of the
Yeah, we do
of
have
the
it.
letters, but this is the last version of the Rite Aid, and this Rite Aid sign, which has been taken down and leaving really what amounts to be an ugly facade today, shows that it was always intended to be separately designated signage. And pursuant to township records that we were able to obtain before we filed our letter, that sign was approximately just under 60 square feet. We're proposing 45.2, which on a final point is 1/3 of the size of the primary wall sign. So we think it is both proportional, we think it is cohesive to the shopping center, and we think it is fair and reasonable. Again, the architect, Mr. Stroke, is here, and certainly a facilities and operations person is from Plum Market to answer any specific questions you might have. But we'd ask that you grant us the variance, and we're anxious to expand our site and get the business in Bloomfield Township. Thank you.
Thank you. Good presentation.
Do we have any questions from the board?
Yes, sir. So I understand that the second sign is to make sure that, there's no customer confusion and that kind of thing. So there's no concern that there might be customer confusion and that people see that second sign and maybe they're not being that attentive and they see that sign and say, well, I'll just go to that sign because I can walk underneath that sign and get into the building. Then they get there and there's no entrance. You're not worried about that happening.
Well, I can have Mr. Strokey talk to that issue. That certainly was something that was considered in connection with the idea of whether we would ask for a second entrance. And ultimately it was decided that we wanted to direct the the entrance to the main location that you're used to today.
Okay.
And what's going to be directional can be spoken. Mr. Soroki can talk to you about that, but that's a very good question. And it was one of the first things I thought about, which was, well, it's going to direct the traffic that this is Plum, which is good, but how do we direct them still to the main entrance?
I'm a senior citizen. I see a sign, I just start walking towards it. I mean, I don't even pay attention to what's there. Oh, that must be it, so.
Good evening, Alex Soroki, Soroki Architecture. It is a very good question, and what we're doing is removing the existing Rite Aid entrance. So that, you know, those entry doors will not be there anymore, and we're infilling it with storefront windows to match the rest of the Plum Market facade. So we're hoping that, you know, as Rick said, the existing sign and the existing entry for 17 years is much larger than the secondary sign we're proposing. Everybody hopefully will be familiar with the main entrance to Plum Market, and then there will be this additional smaller sign, but if somebody looks at the facade below the sign, they're going to see that there's no clear entrance. So we tried to make that obvious with the architecture and design we're proposing.
Also, during just familiarity with the store, a major portion of the year, there's flowers out in front of the store, there's pumpkins, there's other outdoor displays, and those displays will be in front of that area that was formerly the Rite Aid entrance, and will be, I think, apparent that this is not a separate entrance, and directing folks to the main entrance where they can go right or left into the store.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? So just sort of interestingly, I took, Rick, that was a very effective presentation. I took a picture of the interior of the store because it almost looks like you have to be a Jenga expert to work at Plum. There is so much product that's stacked up to the ceiling that this, you know, expansion really is, you know, sorely needed. And I do think that your characterization about the, you know, the benefit of having a Plum at that location is true. So there's a lot of sense to this. I was actually, because I live not very far away, you can still see the old Rite Aid lettering. Sort of, it was there so long. It's sort of embedded in the brickwork. So you know, I think there's, you know, although this somewhat unusual, makes a lot of sense. So any other questions from the board? So I'll open this to the public. Anyone like to comment on this?
Ian North.
So you can come right up to the microphone and step into the bright lights of the production studio.
I'm Ann North at 1625 North Lawn Boulevard in Birmingham, Michigan. I am a big fan of Plum. As a former chef, I can speak to the quality of their products and storefront, and I've always wished that they would be able to expand their facility to match the one that's in West Bloomfield, which is amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
1625.
Is there anyone else that would like to comment? So I'll close the public comment. Rick, I don't know that you have to respond to that endorsement. It was quite nice. So I'll bring it back to the board for discussion or a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
So with regard to the appeal at 3675 West Maple Road for the dimensional variance required for the secondary signage, I move the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for the practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome due to the fact that their store is expanding, and the extra recognition will help direct traffic to the right store. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason that other tenants in that same shopping center have similar, if not bigger, signs. Unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated given that this is an expansion and it is not self-created. So if approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits to be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to installation.
Support. My motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations. Your request is granted.
Thank you for your time. We appreciate it very much.
Yep. You're welcome. So, calling item 12.
Good evening. My name is Nash Kami. I'm one of the owners of Tea Times. We're looking to open up our second location in Bloomfield Township. It's on the corner of Maple and Telegraph at 6565 Telegraph. All we're looking to do for the variance part of it is we have that logo in the middle of the word Tea and Times. I guess the way the ordinance is written, it's supposed to be 5% of your total sign size. This one's closer to, it's a little under, it's around 10%, so it's a little bit bigger. We're still only trying to do one sign, and we can technically have, I think it's 100 square feet or a little bit more than 100 square feet. What we're submitting is 92 square feet to fit within the sign band properly and still look very nice. But this is our brand, and we're trying to build it. Like I said, it's our second location. Our first location is in Rochester Hills. We actually have 2 logos in Rochester Hills, which they approved us for. We're not trying to do that here. We're just trying to make it so that it conforms to our brand and our logo size. So that's it.
Any questions from the board? I'll open this to the public for comment. Anyone like to comment? Close the public hearing and bring it back to the board.
I'll make a motion. In regards to the appeal at 6565 Telegraph Road, for the illustration exceeding 5% of the total sign area, I move that the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome, because to remove that illustration actually would prevent them from having that recognition. No injustice to the adjoining neighbors. Again, we're just talking about just a slight increase, exceeding only, I think he said 10%. Unique circumstances of the property. Again, they already have this logo with this particular illustration, and for consistency, that seems appropriate. And because of that, it is not self-created. With that, if approved, the motion also includes application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to installation.
Support.
So I have motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, in this next case, I am currently working with the client renovating her house, so I recuse myself in this case.
Okay.
That makes sense. So thank you. So I think you actually have to leave.
Yes, please.
I'm
Just sit
leaving.
him down.
And don't watch on television.
No, I'm
That's a completely leave, right?
Mhm.
See you.
Hello, my name is Patrick with Douglas Electric. I'm here representing Birmingham Country Club at 1750 Saxon Drive.
My name is Bradley Bird. I am the Facilities Director at Birmingham Country Club.
We're seeking a variance for mounting a new 150 kW diesel generator not adjacent to the building being served. The reason for this is there's an existing utility transformer and switchgear we're looking to place next to. The building that it will be serving is the bottom right-hand corner of the cart barn. And actually put it closer to some of the property owners. And the aesthetics with this generator location would kind of fit in with the existing switchgear and the utility transformer.
Any questions from the board? Open to the public for comment. Anyone like to speak on this item? Just please step to the microphone and identify yourself again.
Hi.
I think you can tilt that down, can't you? Or no? Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. My name's Ann North, 1625 North Lawn Boulevard, next to the Birmingham Country Club maintenance shed. I am a Bloomfield Township resident, situated on the other side of the street is Birmingham. I have a letter which you all received today that is included in your packet. Additionally, I have 2 members whose letters in this packet are included that are here tonight. I'm giving you copies of the residents that I was able to contact regarding this proposal, and their letters are included, along with the presentation that I'll make shortly. May I present these? My background is as a food and beverage executive with the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company. I've been involved in 2 Malcolm Baldrige Awards for quality. During that process, afterwards, I became a Six Sigma and Lean Six Sigma certified. I am a watershed educator. I've worked in watershed education for 15 years, mostly in the arena of childhood education. I'm an advanced master gardener. I'm currently employed as a landscaper, and I recently installed I've been renovating my lawn and facility. I've put in about $225,000 of landscape renovation to make it more beautiful for the country club, as well as it features an enormous rain garden, which is designed to teach landscape architects that you can make a rain garden on a hillside, on a slope, that is attractive. My issues are that I have a great relationship with the Birmingham Country Club. I've been in touch with them. I have, as I've noticed in the beginning of my letter, I respect their members, their mission, and I'm one of their biggest fans. I will review an 18-page point agenda very quickly, and I'm sure there might be some discussion points on that. You have that on the second page of your packet. First item, I did go to them and I got a response back from the ground supervisor that answered a few of my questions, although not complete. So this is proposing the questions that I still have after being in communication from them that I received from them on Friday. There is no brand name or model disclosed. The exterior dimensions of the generator plus steel enclosure, I need to know that. How high is it? Some generators have tanks underneath it, and if they're sized bigger, they're taller. It serves only the cart barn, and what is included in this is it cart charging, air compressors, what? 150 kilowatt generator is an enormous thing, and I don't know about engines, but is it a V10 or liquid cooled? Low sulfur diesel is the spec, and I'm not sure of if that is a reasonable spec to have in a residential environment. That's a big issue. Diesel fuel storage location, is this an all-in-one fuel tank generator system? Is it used from the additional fuel supply on the facility? I don't know. The decibel rating from my property line is is rated, and they were confirmed. However, these ratings do not translate in an amphitheater type situation. I'm low, the maintenance facility is low, and I'm upward. Voices can carry, I can hear everyday conversations very audibly from the cart barn, noises as well as facility. Not complaining, I'm a landscaper, I understand. However, it with a 150 kilowatt generator, which sounds like it's over-spec'd, I just have to ask why. It is vented in a westerly direction. However, with wind, it swirls up the hill and sound carries up the hill. Muffling system is not disclosed. There are 4 grades of mufflers, different insulation designs. What is it? In other words, all generators have some muffling in it. However, it could just be muffling system based on an inch of foam. It doesn't mean that it is a critical grade noise suppression system, which is common in diesel applications. Exercises twice a month, daytime hours to be determined. That's no problem for me. Are there future plans for yet more noise-related installations? Noise predominantly in the nighttime is an issue for me and some of my neighbors. It is extremely difficult. I have neighbors that have generators on both sides. I have one. It's a very small, I think 23 watt generator. I have to sleep with noise canceling headphones on. Now with this 150 kilowatt beast down there, which I have no idea how to translate that into increased size, that's an issue. Health concerns for me, I'm immunocompromised. I've already had 2 environmentally based cancers. I am highly sensitive to smell, pesticides, fertilizers, herbicides, fuel emissions, and detergents, for God's sake. I can walk down the street and I can smell who's using what detergent. It's serious, it's crazy. This adds to the possible negative effect on property values. If my property values tank, it also affects Birmingham's property values. I want to do everything I can to support the Birmingham Country Club. I'm trying to figure out alternatives. Efforts on my behalf, I've already described what I've done to manage my facility in an environmentally and responsible fashion. I want to do everything I can to help the club. It's a great facility, but a lot of people in my neighborhood were a little bit surprised when they read the township notification. They didn't know what it applied to, and they, kind of put it away. And there are a lot of concerns. I was not able to reach a lot of people.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak on this tonight?
Robert Pickering, 1700 North Lawn Boulevard. I've been a resident there for only a year. We just moved in, and the country club was one of the reasons why we selected our property. We get to look out over the club. I have a 26 kilowatt hour generator. It's natural gas. 150 would be 5 times that size, 6 times that size. That seems an excessive amount of electricity. I received no notification that this was happening, and I've been at that property for a year. So thanks to Ann coming over and knocking on my door and letting me know that this was going on. That's why I wrote the letter that's in your packet, as well as why I'm here. I think this needs a lot more study so that we understand what the actual impact is going to be on the surrounding properties. We understand what has been done from a generation standpoint. There's no clear indication as to whether or not this generator is going to run all the time. Is it just for power outages? Is it for supplementary power? Have alternatives to diesel fuel been looked at? Diesel can be extremely corrosive as well as carcinogenic. So my generator is a natural gas generator. I don't know if the country club looked into that. I don't know if the country club looked into solar power and batteries to provide electricity in the event of a power outage. So with a lot of those questions, I wanted to come and just voice my extreme concerns at having that size of a generator put across the street from my property and my 14-year-old son. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi there. Thanks for having me. My name is Jan Jaworski. I live right next door to these folks at 1595 on North Lawn Boulevard. Our property butts up against the country club. We share a property line. We share views of the golf course, and similar to these two folks, part of the reason why we moved here is because of the golf course. We love the golf course. They maintain it really well. The views are beautiful, and there's a ton of wildlife there. We frequently see bald eagles. We frequently see red-tailed hawks. And similar to everyone else, I have strong concerns about this. For all those reasons, I think there needs to be much more study done about the environmental impacts of this, to the nature around, the impact to the Rouge water. The Rouge River runs right through there. It's an estuary there as well. And on top of all that, we moved in 3 years ago. I have 2 little kids. I'm here representing my wife, Kate, my 2 little kids, a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. They play in the yard all the time. They play in the backyard along the property line. And I have concerns about the generator, the fact that it's diesel, the emissions that it will put out into the air, the potential health effects of that. This is a community area where there's a lot of families and a lot of kids. I'm only one of many around, even though they're not right up against our property line. Just across the street, there's a lot of kids around of very young ages. And so for that reason and all the other reasons, I oppose this. I'm not opposed to the golf course having a generator. They have their needs, they have their things that they have to do, and I understand that, but I think there's a lot of other options that could be done or could be explored, which we need to look at as a community. The final thing I'll say is, again, if this generator is clean, if it is not an eyesore, if it is not, if there's no potential environmental damages to it, then I say, you know, the golf course has a massive property. They can easily put that right next to their clubhouse. I assume the reason why they don't want to do that is because it's going to inhibit their clubhouse views, and it's going to impact the people that come there and golf. And I would ask all of you, if this was your house, if you lived right next to the country club, and if they were going to put in a giant generator right behind your house with your grandchildren or your 4 and 6-year-old kids, would you be opposed to that? And so that is my statement. It's in here as well in the packet, and appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak on this item? So close the public hearing and bring it back to the applicant to respond to the comments.
So we actually provided with our application the specification of the generator. It does meet the Michigan DEQ policies for environmental safety. The reason for the large size generator, it's going to be supplying 400 amps to charge the golf carts. It could be larger, but they chose to lower the wattage because it's actually 1,000 amp service. This generator is only going to supply 400 amps to feed one of the 3 panels. And we supplied decibel ratings along with our application in the specifications. 23 feet away, it's at 80 decibels, and actually we had someone on our behalf run a decibel rating at 140 feet away, and it's 37.8 decibels, which is about the sound of a refrigerator running. I know 150 kW generator sounds like a large generator. In all aspects, the larger the generator, the better quality they are. Residential generators are kind of just thrown together. They're at Home Depot. You can't buy these. They're made to order. They take anywhere from 6 months to 18 months to purchase, so they're high quality. It would be next to a utility transformer and 1,000 amp switchgear that it's in view. I actually traced the kind of the footprint of that rectangle. That's where that generator would be located, right behind that.
In regards to the concerns with the diesel, if you go back one picture, that is where right there to the left, we have our diesel as well as our gas pumps right there for our lawnmowers, leaf blowers and such right there. It is a self-contained gas tank with a overfill option, which we got. Again, like they said, this is actually just for half of the cart barn, so that during storms we can continue to have service at the country club because our carts are electric.
So I'm sorry, you're saying that red sort of tank there houses diesel now?
Diesel as well as unleaded, yes.
And how much diesel is in the tank?
In the generator or in those 2 tanks?
In the 2 tanks.
Each one of them are roughly 250 to 300 gallons.
Okay, and those are for your maintenance equipment and the tractors that you run now? Okay.
One thing I wanted to note, this would just be under power outage. It wouldn't be ran to supplement any power. It would just be during power outages. So normally the grid is shared by all. So when other generators are running, when all the power's out, all the residential generators will be running at the same time as this.
Wait, so I'm not following. So when is it running for the charging the electric carts?
Just during a power outage.
Oh, just during the power
That's
outage.
it.
Okay, so it's not used for anything other than to restore power as opposed to supplement or
Correct.
any of the other things, okay? And could you just review then why you picked that location?
Could we go back to the map? So the cart barn is the lower right hand from the red dot. That's a proposed location of the generator. The utility transformer and the 1,000 amp switchgear, it's already kind of out in that area. We just wanted to kind of keep the utilities in one central location. It would also eliminate some underground work that we'd have to tear up some things in as well, and we chose it would just fit with the utilities, the existing utilities.
If you mind. So this is the cart barn right here. In view from the closest house right here is 144 foot away.
Sorry, I can't see what's pointing to.
I apologize. The cart barn is right here. The closest resident right here, I believe it's Miss Moore, at 144 foot. Right here, we also have, this is the furthest point that we could put it away from everybody's homes. We also have arbs and landscaping that'll go around it that will completely screen that as well.
And Patty, we have a noise ordinance that also
Absolutely,
regulates.
yes. Yes.
And just so the residents know, what's the decibel level?
It's 70 dB.
Okay.
And it's measured 25 feet toward the closest residential property.
Okay.
As a measurement.
We brought in a secondary company to check the decimal level, and so at 140 feet, it is only 38 decibels.
Okay. Any other questions from the, and what was this, could you repeat the screening that you're putting around it?
We'll be screening it with arbs as well as softscape, things of that nature.
Okay.
It'll be completely obstructed by the screen.
Question.
Oh, go ahead.
What was the muffling system? What is that like? I mean, I heard you say that it was high quality, and it sounds like it's, much different than residential generators that I'm familiar with. What is this muffling system like? Is there anything that can be done to?
It will be pointed towards the west,
Yeah.
away from the residents. The exhaust will be going that as well. As for like what type of muffler,
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I guess the evergreen is a great way to soften it too.
I have a couple questions, Chairman, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
Is that okay, guys?
This is
Okay,
the
great.
question part of the evening.
I might have missed it. What was the reason we went with a diesel generator over natural gas? Did I miss this part? So I'm going with why diesel over natural gas.
The diesel will be able to take care of any of the needs that we would be able to have for the cart barn. We actually do not have any kind of closed gas line in this area.
So you'd have to have natural gas or a secondary line brought in, because obviously this isn't the standard line for a house. So you'd have it brought into an area where it doesn't already have it.
And natural gas generators are less efficient than diesel, so it would be a much larger engine. Diesel's is much more efficient.
But it requires diesel to be on hand, which you guys already have, which is one of the other reasons you want this area, correct? So what additional diesel are you keeping on hand for the generator?
It's a 24-hour diesel tank, so that if we needed to have multiple hours or something like that, we could, as well as the fact that on one of the slides right there, we also have diesel on the premises.
So explain that. You have diesel on the premises. That's in addition to the tanks you showed us, or where is the diesel on the premises?
The diesel is in on the underneath the canopy.
Right there.
The green and the red tanks.
Those are unleaded and diesel right there.
So we got a 24-hour, no, excuse me, let's say we got a 4-day blackout. What do you do once that you exceed the 24 hours? That thing's just kaput?
No, we would call in, I mean, like I
replace
said,
it.
we have diesel right there, so we would have 24 hours on the generator, and then the tank behind it, we could also supplement and bring it in to that extent from there.
Okay.
Yep. And then if we got close to running out of it, on day 3 or such, we have a company that comes in and takes care of it.
So how long can it go, so it runs 24 hours, how much fuel does the tank hold to run the generator?
I believe it is a 250?
I think it's 320 gallons.
Yeah, I think you said that earlier.
I believe, I don't have that right in front of me, but yeah, I believe it's 320 gallons. And that's running at 100% load. It'll give it 24-hour runtime.
So you get another 24 hours from the tank that's on site. So you got 2 days of, until you have to refill it. Okay.
So that's the I don't know much about generators, but don't you have to run them to maintain them every now and then, or, so how often would you do that? And what is the duration of that kind of maintenance?
It's probably every 2 weeks, and it'd be for 20 minutes.
And what time of day do you have a schedule for that?
We
or?
can schedule that
Mhm.
whenever.
And then, just a simple question, but what do you, now that you don't have that kind of generator, you were talking about, mainly you were concerned about keeping the operations running as well as the carts, fueled. What are you doing now that you don't have one? How do you maintain that when we do have, because we have quite a few power outages. How do you maintain that currently?
Currently, we don't. We're hoping to move forward into the next level and bring things up to the next standard.
So you're saying club has to shut down until, okay.
I don't know if I'm allowed to ask other questions.
So public comment's kind of over. Any other questions from so did you, was there any kind of meeting with the neighbors in advance of this, or was the notice of this the only time there was discussion on it?
We've sent out a couple different things. I know there was a notice that went around to the neighbors, and then we addressed a couple of the questions with Ms. North and the other neighbors.
Okay. Because Patty, one of the letters mentioned that they thought that not everybody got notice. I don't know if there's any validity to that.
I don't know if we were able to double check that. I mean, our standard noticing within 500 feet,
Yeah.
and then notifying the adjacent community of the public notice.
So I think that was is that Mr. Pickering?
It was.
Yeah, Mr. Pickering said that, so you're saying you didn't get a notice, Mr. Pickering? So we can kind of check that or whatever?
Sure. Ms. Andrea,
I'm not sure what his address is, but we can check.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Do you want to look, what, is it here?
I mean, I don't know.
What number is that? Just 13? 14, is it? 14?
Just another thing that popped in my head while we're looking. I know that it's 150, what was it? It was 150 watt or something.
150,000.
150,000. Now, I know that this is a country club and you probably need one a lot larger than most residences, but is it possible to have something slightly smaller and still be able to have it, fulfill your needs? I'm just curious.
So originally, we came on, we actually looked at providing 2 quotes. One was to back up the entire 1,000 amp service. That would have been a 350 kW generator, so 350,000 watts. We worked with the club to narrow that down to just feed one 400 amp panel. That will not charge the entire cart barn, but it'll be selective, so they'll have approximately half of their carts available to use during a power outage.
Okay.
Well, the other interesting thing is, and not that we don't have it, but the power outages mainly might occur when it's not possible to play golf or, during colder weather. I know we have them in the summer sometimes, or it depends on storms, but
That's true.
the amount of time that you need to run the generator to power carts might not be as great as, kind of used during a winter storm or ice storm or something when the course isn't playable.
There is a manual override that if it is during, while the club is shut down, they can just keep that off. So it would not, during the winter, obviously, you don't need carts, you can just keep that off.
Correct, okay. So is anybody, so I mean, do you feel there's any benefit to, kind of meeting with the neighbors individually to give, answer more specific questions about, what you're doing? It does seem like there are, a lot of times, if you don't have the facts or all the information, you can, draw conclusions that aren't necessarily correct. So you have any?
No, to answer your question, we are not opposed at all to answering any questions. We're very open, and we're more than willing to put any kind of worries at ease or any questions to rest or answer anything. We really just want to, make this as easy possible for everybody.
So what's your timeline for getting started on this?
The generator has been purchased. We're looking to install within the next 2 months. Because of the timeline of generators, we purchased this back in November, and we've been seeking approval to get this installed.
Okay. And so Patty, if they met with the neighborhood, they wouldn't necessarily be on the next month's agenda.
No, because of noticing.
Yep.
But we were able to look at the addressing that we sent out for mailing, and we do have Robert Pickering Jr. and Deborah Pickering at 1700 North Lawn as part of our mailing.
Okay. So, does anyone want to make a motion that we can discuss?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
So, in regards to the appeal at 1750 Saxon Drive for the dimensional variance for the ground-mounted mechanical unit, a generator to be located immediately adjacent to the residential building, I move the variance be approved as requested based on the information presented. The applicant did demonstrate all the standards for public practical difficulty because the compliance with the strict letter of the law would be unduly burdensome because they're trying to maintain their operations. Sorry about that. Similar to the neighbors who all have generators as well, and they're trying to maintain power during a power outage. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason of the decibel scale. Not only do we have an ordinance that they meet according to the specs provided, it also shows within, I believe it was 138 feet, which is the closest building, the decibel level will be at approximately 40 decibels, lower than our current ordinance. The unique circumstance of this property have been demonstrated because given if they don't have natural gas, to be able to go to natural gas as other residents have suggested, they'd have to bring in a special natural gas for that. There's already diesel on site, so they're already using diesel products and still having diesel emissions already there. So adding additional diesel emissions would be the same as them just using other particular stuff. This is not self-created due to, they're not the ones who are creating the power outage. So with that, the applicant must, for all necessary permits, must be made within 1 year for the generator, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction. Additional evergreen plantings will be required to screen the ground-mounted mechanical unit from public view and must meet or exceed the height of the ground-mounted mechanical unit at time of planting for 12 months of the year, which currently does not appear that there's anything in that area. So this will be an upgrade to what's currently there.
Support. So I have motion and support. Any discussion? I mean, we're trying to balance a number of different things here. I think they've explained the noise level, the fact that they have the screening is a plus. It's not running all the time, and the time that it would be needed to power the carts is minimal. So at least for me, I'm kind of satisfied that we sort of balance it. And I know there's neighbors are concerned, but it seems like they've addressed it. The only thing I'd say is I'd encourage you to sort of share, whatever, keep the lines of communication with the neighbors about, what you're doing, because that would have helped in this case. So, go ahead.
And Chairman, as you said, most of the neighbors here are big fans of what you guys are doing. As you said, the lady, Miss North, talked glowing reviews. She just didn't feel like there was enough communication open with her. So that seems like the burden is on you guys. If this panel does vote on this, that you guys need to work on open line communication with these people. Whether they're there or not, or whether it's perception or reality, clearly there is perception on their end.
So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
I didn't get a chance to rebuttal.
Yes, I'm here.
So there's not a rebuttal?
That's not how the process works.
Yeah, we just have it one public.
But they get to explain like a lot of their things, and we can't talk.
And
We
I
can't-
didn't.
So our procedure is that we have a presentation by the applicant, there's public comment, and the applicant gets to respond.
This process was explained at the start of the meeting by the chair.
I apologize, I didn't think I would come on time. Out of sake, please give me a moment.
But Ms. North, please.
We can't.
Please speak with them.
Yeah, you need to speak with them.
My concerns were listed here. I didn't have a chance to speak with them. I don't feel this process is fair.
Thank you for sharing.
So calling the next item, item 14, parcel 1901-101-031.
Good evening.
Good evening.
John Thompson, excuse me, John Thompson with Professional Engineering Associates, representing the Noble Development this evening. We're located at the South Boulevard Squirrel Hard Corner. This location was previously approved for 2 restaurant uses with drive-throughs. They were unable to make that development work. Mr. Fenari and his group purchased the property and decided to utilize it for a phase 2 of the Noble development. What we're proposing is a clubhouse and pool, as well as 1 additional residential unit, one additional townhouse unit, with 5 or 6 units within that building. The clubhouse doesn't fit well into the ordinance. As such, we are asking for 6 different variances, primarily because we have 2 front yards, and facing everything to the rear yard would be difficult to impossible in order to develop the project. With that, we could go over each bullet point, or I could let you work through it and ask me any questions.
Well, let's open the public hearing. Anyone like to speak on this item? Close public hearing.
I'd like to make a quick comment. I know this, the planning commission reviewed this and felt very highly of it. It's a great use of the property and enhances the community around it also. So from the planning commission side, that is highly appreciated.
Well, and it's a substantial change from what they had before. The market's changed, so.
I think it's a great improvement.
So do you want to make the motion? I
I'll
mean,
make the-
it looks,
I make the motion if
yeah,
you're gonna allow me.
yeah, go ahead.
We're here together.
I mean, it looks like a great use of the property.
I think
so.
it's great, and it's an enhancement of what was there, and obviously a good improvement and good, continued investment into our township, which is a great
Right.
thing. So with that, I'd like to make, first one, I'll go with the commission, motion. In regards to the appeal at, southwest corner of Squirrel and South Boulevard, property, number 1901-101-031, the permission request for the accessory structure, pool, pergola, piers, fence, and dog fence. I move the request be approved as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate the compliance for section 42-7.6 standards because the size of the accessory structure is compatible with adjoining properties based on the fact that this is where they're gonna try to put their clubhouse to continue to furnish that certain area. It is an obvious improvement over what was currently there. That's one, and then the dimensional variance as required. In regard to the appeal at, again, Sidwell number 1901-101-031, for the variance, for the dimensional variance for the accessory structure exceeding 14 feet in height for the pool, pergola, secondary signage, the piers, fence, dumpster, ground mechanical unit, the dog park, with dog enclosure fence located in the frontage and the drive alley encroaching into the required 40-foot front yard setback. I move the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty because compliance to strict letter of law ordinance would be unduly burdensome because they would not be able to put all these different types of features into that neighborhood, and because there's two setbacks for the front yard for South Boulevard and a squirrel there. There's no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by the reason of this is actually servicing that entire neighborhood. Unique circumstances of this property have been demonstrated given with the fact that, again, they have two front yard setbacks. This is not self-created because of the fact that they're trying to do this as an improvement, and the frontages on both sides are what's causing most of these. With that, if this motion is approved, the application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year for the sign, accessory structures, and dog fence, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction. Additional evergreen screenings will be required for the pool, pergola, dumpster, ground-mounted mechanical unit, fence, dog fence from public view, and must meet or exceed the height of the ground mechanical units at times of planning for 12 months of the year. I know this is a struggle because of that corner, but you should be able to do that.
Support.
So a motion and support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations.
Congratulations, thank you.
So can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Support.
In a second. All those in favor of the motion to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting's adjourned.